think here you are the specialist.
Thank you.
What can be perfected here?
First, there is no perfect security, whatever perfect means. If by perfect we mean it's unbreakable, it doesn't exist. Everyone who is pretending that he has the perfectly secure solution is either naive, incompetent, or a crook. There is no way that it could happen if you spend enough time with the right skills and proper funding. Someone will be able to break it. So what can people do? I think the first thing is to admit that you will or your solution or your technology will be breached one day. And as soon as you admit that, you start to think in a very different way how to manage and how to deploy your device and to keep them secure. Because it forces you to think what is going to happen after the breach. What do? I can do a lot of things to prevent that moment to happen. But if I admit this is going to happen, then I can start focusing on what's after the breach, which is equally important or sometimes even more important than that first phase. So I think that's a very good, I would say, philosophy. Assume this will happen and start thinking on how do you manage that event. And then it's do it from the very beginning. Think about the security in the design of your product, in the process of putting a product into the field, and also in the process of removing, decommissioning your product in the field is super important too from a security perspective. People tend to forget the end of life of a product, the decommissioning, the revoking. If you provide some right to someone and you decommission your product without revoking the right, maybe it's something that you're losing. So the secure by design on the technology and the process level is fundamental.
Absolutely. And I think it's also important to do the max. I mean, when you know a way of making it better, then you must go this way. There you cannot save, so to say, and make it a little cheaper because it immediately increases the risk, and probably the extra you have to do to make it right is relatively small. But it needs, of course, the right knowledge, the right competencies, and the right partners that can really deliver. And I think we together have really set up a concept that is unique. And I would say probably we really deliver the max with bi-directional end-to-end security with very frequent change of keys and making all very difficult finally to make the security attacked.
No, you're absolutely right. And you mentioned end-to-end, which is also something which is absolutely key. Think the security from a system perspective and end-to-end. We're always focusing about the device side because that's the visible part for everybody. But there is always something in the backend which is managing, receiving data or initiating commands, and the entire chain has to be secure, not only the device.
No. And it's often disregarded, or sometimes people think, oh, I'm in a cloud solution that I can just source and everything is done, but this is very often not the case.
It is.
It is just superficial, and insofar it's really a different approach to make it end-to-end secure.
Yes.
Yeah, I think first of all, such events are of course something with a high profile and makes it interesting to do something there because you can have quickly gain a lot of attendance. Therefore, I think security is very important to such, in the case of such events, and of course such events also have a high installation grade. There's a lot of infrastructure involved, and more devices are employed to make things better. And therefore, one should not underestimate the effort that should go into anything that goes around such an event.
I think you're right. I think the exposure is maximum. There is a huge reputation damage for the country, for the International Olympic Committee, and everybody will look at it, and any incident will become immediately a big thing, whatever it is, and cybersecurity is part of it. I think Tokyo is going to deploy or is deploying a lot of connected solution to make the life of the athletes, the life of the visitors more easy, to better manage the flow of a lot of people of the crowd, They're going to use autonomous vehicle to move people across the city. So there will be an hyper connectivity needs for the events, which means a higher exposure. The threat surface and the attacks will be bigger than ever, and I think they're very worried about it. I was reading that they announced recently that the government is going to hack intentionally IoT consumer devices to raise awareness and make sure that the population is doing something about it before hackers do, which is quite interesting that the government is passing a law to authorize companies to do that, to kind of preventively improve the situation. They're going to rely a lot on facial ID to manage entry of guests and so on. And then you have all the personal data, confidentiality issues. So it's going to be big for sure because they need it and they cannot afford any glitch in the system. So it'll be interesting to watch.
In fact, and of course these events are always platforms to demonstrate new solutions, new technology, and especially in Asian countries this is quite prevalent. But I think